I'm 82 years old now, and when people ask me what I regret most, I don't think of missed opportunities or money I lost. I think of her, the woman I let go before realizing she was my home. I suppose that sounds sentimental coming from an old man, but if being this age has taught me anything, it's that sentiment is the only honest way to look back on a life. At 25, I thought love was supposed to be easy, a smooth road that bent gracefully around my ambitions. I thought if you worked hard, saved enough, and built something people could see, a house, a reputation, a name on the company door, then affection would fall neatly into place like a family photograph in a silver frame. That was how men my age were raised to think, especially in the years after the war, when the world looked like a giant construction site waiting for us to fix it. She came into my life like sunlight through dusty blinds, unexpected and early. Her name was Margaret, though I never called her that. To me, she was just Maggie. I met her in 1963 at a church dinner dance my sister had dragged me to. I remember she had a green dress that shimmered when she moved, and she laughed like someone genuinely happy to exist. That kind of laughter isn't rare because people don't have reasons to laugh. It's rare because most people hold themselves back from being seen. Maggie wasn't afraid to be seen. I think that's what caught me first. We courted the way folks did then. Letters when we were apart, slow dancing at weddings, discussing the idea of settling down as if it were an inevitable adventure rather than a choice. Within 2 years we were married. I was working 12-hour days at the plant trying to climb into management, and she found joy in small things, tending flowers, volunteering, inviting neighbors for tea. I can still see her standing at the kitchen window with her hands dipped in soapy water, singing along to the radio, sunlight striking her hair like the reflection off a copper kettle. But when you're young and ambitious, love sometimes becomes background noise to the louder song of success. My mistake was assuming she would always be there, humming quietly behind me while I chased promotions. We had 2 children, a boy and a girl, and I loved them fiercely, but I was better at showing up with toys than showing up with time. Maggie used to tell me, gently, that I was missing the days that held all the meaning. And I'd laugh, say something like, "Well, make up for it when I retire." You don't realize how cruel later sounds until you run out of laters. By my mid-40s, I was a manager with a view of the river. My gray suits matched my gray hair, and I thought I'd arrived. But Maggie grew quieter. There was nothing dramatic, no shouting or slammed doors, just an invisible curtain lowering between us. She joined more community groups, stayed longer at her mother's farm, and started painting again. I told myself she was simply finding her own hobbies, and I encouraged it, proud I had given her freedom. That's how stupid a man can be, thinking neglect, wrapped in good intentions, is generosity. One evening she asked if I'd ever thought about what we wanted out of the next 20 years, and I gave her some empty speech about upgrading the house. What she meant, of course, was us. I didn't notice until it was too late that her eyes had changed. You can always tell when love stops living in someone's eyes. They become polite instead of warm. Then one April morning, after 21 years of marriage, she told me she needed a separation. She said it kindly, almost apologizing for it, as if she were sorry for choosing herself. I was stunned. I tried to reason with her, promised things would change, but the truth was I didn't even know what needed changing. I thought she was going through some mid-life confusion, but she told me with heartbreaking clarity that she'd felt lonely for too long. "You're a good man, Frank," she said, "but you're not here." I didn't know what to do with that. Physically, I'd been there every night, but emotionally I had been living 5 years into the future. When she left, I told friends and family it was temporary. I kept the house exactly the same for months, waiting for her to walk back through the door, like some miracle in a Sunday sermon. She didn't. She got her own place, continued painting, traveled. I visited the kids on weekends, attended church alone, and let the house grow silent enough to hum. People think you get used to silence with time. You don't. You just learn to stop fighting it. A few years later, word reached me that she was seeing someone. A retired teacher, kind man apparently. I remember that night well. I poured myself a drink, sat in her old chair, and told myself I was happy for her. It's the lie every deserted husband tells himself once. The mind's way of balancing pride with heartbreak. But deep down, I felt something break in me that never fully healed. The house, once just a building, began to feel hollow, almost disapproving. I tried to fill it with hobbies, gardening, woodworking, but none of it filled the space where her voice used to echo. There's a loneliness that doesn't scream. It just sits across from you at breakfast. I learned to live with that. The kids grew up, married, moved away. Life marched on the way time always does, steady, indifferent, merciless in its regularity. I saw her again at our daughter's wedding. We danced once, awkwardly but kindly, the way two people who share history but not a future do. She looked radiant, happy in a way that both comforted and quietly destroyed me. I wanted to tell her that I finally understood that all those nights she spent waiting for me to look up from my paperwork were her way of asking me to choose love over ambition. But pride is another word for cowardice once you're old enough to know better. I kept silent. She asked how I'd been, and I gave the standard answer. Keeping busy. What an absurd thing to say to someone you once promised forever to. When Maggie passed away some 10 years ago, her daughter, our daughter, called me. I sat on the edge of the bed listening to the words, but not understanding them. Death has that effect. It erases the illusion of endless tomorrows faster than any lesson life could teach. I walked into the kitchen, made myself tea, and stared at the steam spiraling upward, realizing I would never again hear her hum while washing dishes. I didn't cry that day, I just sat completely still. The tears came a week later, unexpectedly, while folding laundry. I found one of her old scarves the children had returned to me from her things. It still smelled faintly of her perfume, lilac and soap. My hands shook so violently that I had to sit down. That was when I admitted it out loud. I had let my home walk away because I kept mistaking the walls for the heart. What do you do with such a realization when you're in your 70s? You can't fix it, but you can learn from it. And learning, I've discovered, is the only way to make amends with time. These days my mornings begin slowly. I brew coffee, watch the sun climb over the roofs, and speak to her in my thoughts. You were right, Maggie. I say sometimes, I wasn't there. There's peace in admitting fault, even if nobody else hears it. The world is gentler when you stop defending your mistakes. I tell my grandchildren to look up from their phones, to look at each other, to pay attention, because love dies quietly, not from shouting, but from neglect. That's the lesson that sits inside my bones. Presence is the rarest gift, and it costs nothing but intention. I know you who are listening. Whether you're 20 or 70, carry your own story of someone who slipped away. Maybe you think about writing them a message, and then talk yourself out of it. I've done that countless times. Let me tell you something from the vantage point of 82 years. Silence never protects you. It only delays the ache. If the person still walks this earth, speak to them. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It won't come. We think we have to prepare ourselves to say the right words, but sometimes all love needs is a clumsy truth spoken honestly. Tell them what you wish you'd said. Even if they can't forgive you, at least you'll know you honored the love that shaped you. I spent decades pretending my suffering was noble, that it was the price of growth. But grief isn't proof of love, attention is. I sometimes imagine an alternate life, one where I left the office early to watch the sunset with her, or stayed in the kitchen to dry the dishes, or chose conversation over television. Those tiny choices we dismiss as small are the architecture of intimacy. I'd like to build 1 hour of that life just to feel her hand in mine again. People say home is where the heart is. I used to think that meant a building full of photos. Now I know home is the person who listens when you speak half a sentence and understands the rest. So when I say I let my home go, I mean I lost the center of gravity that gave my days meaning. The irony is I spent my life building houses and never realized the only one that mattered had legs and a heartbeat. If my words reach you tonight, I hope they do more than just fill a quiet moment. I hope they remind you that whatever you love, whoever you love, is not guaranteed to wait until you finish. Horn more thing. Choose them now. Look at them now. Say the kind thing. Offer the apology. Make the tea. Life is stunningly brief, even when it lasts 82 years. And if my story means something to you, stay in this little circle with me. This old voice wants company on the road. Slip a bit of kindness my way. By listening, by sharing, by keeping this memory alive somewhere beyond these words. Let's make sure that what I lost doesn't get lost again through you. I sit here in the late afternoon light, the hour when shadows stretch long and honest. I think of her every single day, not with torment anymore, but with gratitude that I was lucky enough to know what real love looked like, even if I only learned its value after it was gone. The teacup cools beside me, the house creaks the way old houses do, and in that quiet breath between thoughts, I almost hear her humming again, "That's enough." In that soundless hum, I finally understand that even when love leaves, it keeps a chair pulled out for you somewhere in memory. And that, my friend, is where I live now, at the table of what could have been, grateful for what once was.